Okay. Excuse me. We'll call the meeting to order. Welcome, everybody, and welcome everybody that's out there watching us virtually today. And first order of business, I'm going to ask that everybody rise, and we'll take a moment of reflection before we start. Thank you. And before we proceed, Ms. Noble, Ashley, could you give us an update for anybody that is joining us virtually?
Thank you, and through you, Mayor Eccles. Before I begin, at any point, if you get disconnected, you can dial 1-647-558-0588 and enter the ID for this meeting, which is 891-5626-2480. Both member of council and staff have been briefed on the various features of the Zoom meeting software and will be raising their hand physically to speak. For members of the public, if you require any technical assistance, please send a chat message to myself, Ashley Noble, Communications Coordinator, and I will attempt to assist you. It should be noted for members of the public that this meeting is taking place across two meeting platforms, both on Zoom as well as being live streamed on YouTube. Public participation, if any, must be done through Zoom and cannot be done through YouTube at this time.
Thank you, Ashley. Really appreciated. Ask any of the council members any declaration of pecuniary interest or general nature thereof on today's agenda. Seeing none as of yet, if it does arise, can be declared at any time, of course. Delegations, presentations, do we have none this morning? Public meetings, none that we're aware of. Comment period. At this time, procedural bylaw allows comments on any specific agenda item, maximum 2 minutes. I don't think we have anybody in the audience, but online. Ashley, do we have somebody who would like to comment? Very good. I'll turn it over. Can you get them in? Good morning. Are you joined in?
Can you hear me?
Yes, now we can. There was a couple of seconds there where it was moving, but we couldn't hear you, but we can now. The floor is yours, ma'am. You could state your name for the record.
Okay, my name is Nikki May. Good morning, Mayor and Council. I would like to comment on item 10.1.2 regarding the correspondence from Enbridge requesting West Grey Council to write to the OEB on their behalf. In the letter, Enbridge states that we believe consumers should be the ones to choose the type of energy they use. I agree. In December of 2023, the OEB made a ruling that there would no longer be taxpayer subsidies for Enbridge Incorporated, a giant energy company. These taxpayer subsidies take away choice from consumers, making it cheaper for developers to install fossil gas heating in new homes. They subsidize Enbridge to install gas infrastructure to the tune of about $23,000 per home in Neustadt. So new home buyers find only gas furnaces in the homes they can choose from, rather than being offered a choice of energy source. The current government is planning to overturn the OEB decision. I would like to point out that when Bill 165 is passed, Enbridge Incorporated is set to receive a subsidy of at least $234 million from the Ontario government/Ontario taxpayers in order to build out pipeline extensions to about 8,800 homes. I'm using numbers from the 2021 press release on this one. That works out to Enbridge receiving taxpayer subsidies of about $26,000 per new customer across the province, which, by the way, would fully subsidize almost twice as many homes with heat pumps if given directly to individual homeowners. And this in a time of global warming crisis. I ask that West Grey Council direct staff to write a letter to the Ontario government in support of the OEB decision to stop subsidies to Enbridge from taxpayers, in support of people in Neustadt having a choice. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Nikki. Anyone else there, Ashley? Oh, I see somebody else up on the screen.
Hi.
Good morning.
Thanks for this opportunity. My name's Bev Falco. I also want to comment on the same agenda item, which is a request for action from Enbridge Gas. Personally, I'm just wondering how a large corporation such as Enbridge has the arrogance and audacity to send a small municipality a request to support them and their huge taxpayer subsidies, anticipating that we will fall in line and do their bidding. It feels very condescending and disrespectful to ask us to support an undemocratic and unjust proposal. An analogy here might be to think of a court case where only one side is allowed to present their case. I think most importantly, we need to ask ourselves what Enbridge is afraid of. If they are doing the right thing and not suppressing pertinent information to taxpayers, I'm not sure why they would make such a request. What do you think? Personally, I find the information presented in the environmental defense motion to review to be of great interest and extremely relevant to this issue. Under the current system, choice is taken away from residents of new subdivisions and financial implications are not fully and honestly portrayed. Subsidies could better be used in heating solutions that emit far less emissions. Environmental defense seems to have the backs of the taxpayers as opposed to Enbridge, which focuses on profit. So as you have probably guessed, I am here to respectfully ask that we do not fall in line with corporate lobbyists when the request itself is very suspect. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bev. Do we have anybody else? Ashley? No? Okay. And again, I don't think we have anybody obviously in the audience, so I'll say that we'll move on then to unfinished business. Not aware of any. Mr. Clerk, Director of Legislative Services. Sorry for getting the name wrong there. Adoption of the minutes, 8.1 and 8.2. We can do these in one motion. If somebody would like to move that, moved by Councillor Noon, seconded by Deputy Mayor Hutchison, that we received the minutes of the regular council meeting April the 2nd and the special council meeting April 4th. Any discussion on the motion? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Okay. Number 9, committee and board reports. We have, these will be received for information. 9.1, minutes of the Saugeen Municipal Airport. 9.2, minutes of the Saugeen Mobility, January 26th. And the minutes of the Drinking Water Source Protection Committee from November 24th, 2023. That committee, I think, meets twice a year now, or maybe 3 times. They don't meet very often. Things are in good shape there. Do we have a motion to accept those minutes as presented? Councillor Townsend and Councillor Hutchison, thank you. Any comments on the motion? Seeing none, call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. That brings us down to correspondence. In our correspondence package, and we have quite a number of them there, but there's 2 that have been pulled in the direction. The first one being 10.1.1, correspondence from Fixing Zhang on behalf of Falun Dafa Association of Canada, requesting a proclamation greeting from the 32nd Falun Dafa Day. How does council want to address that? Or is there? This correspondence came directly to myself and was asked, I asked Jamie that we put it on the agenda. My understanding it's a cultural group from China that were persecuted in China a number of years ago, immigrated here. There has been some, but it's across Canada that the group ended up here, and a few of the bigger cities have made the proclamation. Just looking whether we want to do anything with it or not. Councillor Joyce?
No, thank you. I was just question if do we support any other cultural groups with these types of proclamations or greetings?
We might have in the past, but I'm not aware of, can't say of any right off the top of my head. Jamie?
Three Miracles, yes, we have had requests for proclamation in the past. In my time with West Grey, and council did proclaim those requests, proclaim those days as that particular day. So this is not out of character. We have issued proclamations in the past, but it's up to council as to whether or not you wish to proclaim May 13th as Falun Dafa Day.
Anybody? Oh, thank you. Jeff? Bit of a silence there. Councillor Shea.
I'm wondering what the range of options are. I thought I saw something in here about flag raising, but there's also discussion of a proclamation / greeting. Would that just be the form of a letter sent to the group?
Three Miracles, yes, that's likely what would happen if council did proclaim May 13th as Falun Dafa Day. A resolution letter would be drafted and sent to the correspondent at the association to let them know that West Grey has proclaimed May 13th as Falun Dafa Day.
Okay. Anybody else? I don't see anybody. Put it in the package, Jamie?
Three Miracles, as it is pulled in a standalone item, if council doesn't want to proclaim that day, a motion to receive the correspondence would be required.
Okay. So I do need a motion, one of two that's on the floor here. Mr. Townsend?
Motion to receive the correspondence.
Very good. Moved by Councillor Townsend, seconded by Deputy Mayor Hutchison to receive the correspondence. Any questions, comments on the motion? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That is carried. Okay, that one was received. 10.1.2, correspondence from Enbridge Gas re Newstead Community Expansion. Obviously in our package, and Enbridge was looking for an endorsement to get the project moving forward. Any questions, comments? Councillor Shea. Jeffrey?
I read the two documents, one from Enbridge and the other from, I think it's called Defense Fund. Yeah, ED, and they both made a number of points which struck me as legalistic and sort of beyond my capability to properly assess. And so I would suggest that without having legal advice, that we not move forward on this request. I would make a motion if needed.
Jamie? How do you want to deal with this one?
Three Miracles, similar to the last one, if it's not council's wish to proceed with the request contained within the correspondence, and a motion to receive would be required.
And you were making that motion? Okay. Councillor Shea makes the motion to, on this request, just to receive the information. We have a seconder? Okay, thank you, Mr. Forrester. Scott seconds that motion to receive this one for information. All right. Any comments, questions on the motion? Councillor Hutchison. Doug?
Yeah, I think because of the general interest from some individuals out there and for our thoughts going forward, I think there is some interesting facts that come out of this detail. I think, first of all, I do believe that Newstead has been waiting to get natural gas, and that was one of the issues that I believe has been in the political world for a few years now in terms of trying to get gas in there. But I also feel that it comes down to choice, that if Enbridge puts gas into Newstead, that the homeowner has the choice to whether they wish to hook up or not. If they want to go the heat pump route, that's fine. Though I believe it's a lot cheaper to go from propane to natural gas than it would be to go from propane to heat pump. But I think going forward, we do need to look at heat pumps in terms of an alternate source. And I know the comment came out about developments. Well, right now we're sort of looking at maybe there's development in Newstead down the road. We don't know. That's been on the hook. There's some large development that's been there for a while. But again, when that happens, then that'll be up to the developer whether they wish to put gas into that development or not. I think looking in the Durham area where we have lots of development that could happen in the near future, then we need to look at is natural gas the way to go, or what should we be encouraging heat pumps in those developments rather than natural gas? And I think there's a lot more information needs to come out about the heat pump thing. I know there's a lot of talk about that and whatnot, and it's been around for a few years, but how efficient they are, I know I've had some experience with some that are very noisy on the side of a house. So there's some things that need to be ironed out there and looked at going forward. But I think when it comes to our future developments, rather than like a whole community where there's businesses waiting for this natural gas, that we do look at what the alternates are, and we all have to make changes and we all have to make decisions how we're going to go forward, whether it's in this case or whether it's an electric vehicle versus a non-electric vehicle. All those things are decisions we have to make, and we all have to work together to try to solve some of our climate issues for sure. But I think at this point, I would like to see us go ahead with the Enbridge in Newstead, just because we have committed, and there are people there that are waiting for it. So I'd be in support of we can do nothing, which is fine, because the OEB has made their ruling, and the environmental group has some objections. So I guess we see where that goes, but I don't think Enbridge would put gas into Newstead if they weren't going to make a profit, and that's part of what they do. So I'll leave it there, just food for thought, I guess.
Okay, thank you, Doug. Anyone else? Doug one. Mr. Townley.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, I echo what Councillor Hutchison was saying too, and even to the point where the two speakers this morning were saying, people should have choice. Well, we have to get gas there for them to have a choice. And there are people waiting for that gas, and the more we can get gas out into the rural areas, them bringing this line down from Hanover, it'll maybe allow some farmers to tap into. This is where a big issue is, getting the gas out into the rural for the farmers, for the corn dryers and those sorts of things, where Right now, they're paying for propane, and I don't think there's an electric heat pump that you can put on a corn dryer yet. So we need to expand gas into this part of Ontario, and anything we can do to support that, to give people an option of which way they want to go with their heat source, we should endorse.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Shay, Jeff?
I don't disagree with the previous speakers. I do think that the job of sorting out the information that is in the two letters that are in our package is the OEB's job. And I don't think we should be sort of taking over their responsibility to assess, an application from Enbridge and a citizens group who wants to respond and make comment. It's their job to sort out whether that comment should be allowed or whether it's redundant or vexatious or appropriate or inappropriate. I don't see it being our job, and I don't feel like we have enough information to figure out where this sits in the OEB's procedures. So that's why I think we should just keep our nose out of it.
Okay. Anything else? Mr.
And
Townsend.
just as a follow-up, and I guess on our letter back to the OEB or whoever we're responding to on this, not a fact that we are trying to endorse them legally one way or the other, or that whole thing, just simply stating that we are still interested in getting gas into Newstead and getting gas out here, just letting them know that there are people simply waiting for this opportunity to come along to give them a choice of how they heat their homes or heat their farms or whatever. Not necessarily endorsing, excuse me, a legal opinion, just letting them know that there are customers out here waiting.
I'm going to ask Jamie the motion that Councillor Shay moved, I believe, was to receive this for information.
Your Miracles, that is correct.
So there wouldn't be any action taken on this. We receive it for information. We're there. Enbridge and provincial government, I believe, already have a letter from this council supporting the expansion. So what this is all about really is for clarification, is the legal wranglings. I think as Councillor Shay said very well of what's going on, and they were looking for us, but I think just by receiving this, we're not going to get ourselves drawn in. And that's good and thankful, because if it does become a court case, well, that's right, I'd end up being spokesperson from the municipality and probably be the one that would be in front of the court. So thank you, Jeffrey, for just saying, no, we'll stay away from the courts at this point in time. Appreciate that. Okay. Anything else? Call the question then. All those in favor of receiving this? Any opposed? That's carried. So that was received. Correspondence, then the rest of the correspondence that were in the package. An awful lot of those ones we've already seen. Labor law to fire apparatus, housing, endorsement from a lot of other communities out there that have endorsed, that we have already taken action on. Is there any other the correspondence that anybody would like to pull? Councillor Noon. Joyce?
Thank you. I would like to pull items number 2 and number 3.
Okay. So subtracting them, they're number 2 and number 3, both at Councilor Noon.
Thank you. Number 2, correspondence from the towns of Adelaide, Metcalfe, request to increase tile drain loan amounts. West Grey is fortunate to have prime agricultural land, and farm drainage plays an important impact on agricultural productivity and sustainability. Improved drainage also benefits field operation, reduces erosion, and minimizes nutrient runoff, contributing to environmental conservative efforts. With our changeable weather patterns, well-maintained drainage systems play a crucial role in ensuring stable yields. Providing increased tile loan amounts will assist applicants to subsidize their increased cost of installation.
Jamie? Want to jump in?
Thank you, Mayor Eccles, and through you, I have that in consideration of correspondence received from the Township of Adelaide Metcalfe respecting a request to increase tile drain loan limits. Council directs staff to send a letter of support for the resolution to the Minister of Agriculture, Food and Rural Affairs, the Association of Municipalities of Ontario, and the Rural Ontario Municipal Association.
That's what you're looking for, Councillor Noon? And you'll move that. Okay, thanks, Joyce. And Councillor Townsend. No? Okay, any further comments on this? And I'll call the question. All those in favor of supporting that motion? Any opposed? That's carried. All right, Councillor Noon, number 3, you wanted to speak to correspondence from the Township of Asphodel, Norwood? I got the Norwood part right. Still not sure what the Asphodel. And I'm not even sure where that is in Ontario. Oh, do you? Yeah, that's what I thought. Joyce.
Yes, it's regarding concerns raised by former senior managers of Public Health Ontario regarding the Auditor General's of Ontario's recommendation to close regional laboratories. My concern reflects to gradually eliminate drinking water testing services for Ontarians who draw water from private drinking systems, and West Grey, our rural communities on well systems, could be at risk to public health if not analyzed in a timely manner. If phasing out private water testing is approved, there will be serious negative impacts on public health. Also, as noticed, we have seen in the past an effective public health network is needed, not only to secure essential day-to-day testing, but also to respond to emergent public health emergency, such as what happened in Walkerton, previous SARS, West Nile, and COVID. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other further comments or questions on that one? Jamie, do you have a motion prepared?
Through you, Mayor Eccles, yes, I do. I have that in consideration of correspondence received from the Township of Asphodel, Norwood, respecting Public Health Ontario Labs. Council directs staff to send a letter of support for the resolution to the Minister of Health and the MPP for Bruce Grey, Owen Sound.
Move that choice. Thank you. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Forrester. Thanks, Scott. Any further comments on the motion? Call the question. All those in favor? Easy one. Clear that. Carried. Councillor Shea. Jeff.
Sorry to be slow on the uptake. Could I also ask to pull number 11?
Yes, you can. It's dealing with the deadlines on accessibility, 2025 accessibilities. So that is number 11 that Councillor Shea would like pulled. And we'll accept that. Go ahead, Jeff. Speak
So
about that.
the essence of the motion by Prince Edward County is the creation of a municipal accessibility fund by the province, which would support the implementation of the goals of the Ontario Accessibility AODA, Accessible Ontario Disability Act. I don't know what that stands for.
I think you're about right.
So I think that if we had the support of provincial funds to move forward with the goals of that act, it would make our job easier as a municipality and the province more accessible to people living with disabilities.
Okay. Any further comments on that? I think as a municipality, I had a discussion with staff the other day, we're pretty good as far as our municipal facilities that we've done any work on. But as the act itself changes, you never know from what you did 5 years ago, it's no longer relevant. Some of that stuff even comes in, Carl, with the building department on different aspects, and as mobility products or devices change. Now the width of doors have changed, which you're probably very much aware of, Jeffrey, from a personal experience. So yeah, the idea of being 2025, I don't think it's one of those things. The act said everything should be by 2025, but it's going to be an ongoing thing as we say, as we always change. I don't think it can be just static, and having provincially mandated, and that's one of the other things, provincially mandated programs without any funding. Yep, we'll make the rules. Municipalities pay for them. And the deficit now of filling in for the province is what, 4.5 billion across annually. Councils like this get just a little bit tired of paying for everything that the province dictates. Not that this is a bad thing. I think it's good, but some of the funding, we don't have the formulas to be able to serve it. Have I talked long enough that you've got a motion? Thank you, Jamie. All right, Jamie.
Thank you, Mayor Eccleston. Through you, I have that in consideration of correspondence received from Prince Edward County respecting a call to action to meet the deadline of an accessible Ontario by 2025. Council directs staff to send a letter of support for the resolution to the Premier of Ontario, the Minister of Seniors and Accessibility, the Minister of Children, Community and Social Services, the Minister of Health, Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, the Federation of Canadian Municipalities, and the Association of Municipalities of Ontario.
Thank you. And Jeff, you had that pulled. You'll move that. Thank you, Councillor Shea. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Townsend. Thank you. Any comments or questions on the motion? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Okay. That's it for the ones that we have pulled. Which ones do we have left? Jamie? All others, is that going to cover all other pieces in the correspondence package we received for information? Moved by Councillor Forster, seconded by Deputy Mayor Hutchison. Any comments on that? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. And I'll remind council, if going through the package, if we get it out early enough and you would like something pulled, let Jamie know ahead of time, and then I don't have that little tapping in my ear as he tries to get the he'd have the motions pre-prepared for us, but sometimes it just clicks when you get here. I understand that, but for Jamie, he would greatly appreciate me and having those done up ahead of time. All right, that's it for correspondence. Staff reports. 11 staff reports. 11.1 community services. South Grey Chamber of Commerce, West Grey appointee. And Mr. Hewlett, Cody, what do you got on this one for us?
Good morning, and through you. Fairly straightforward report in front of council. As council is aware, the municipality is a municipal partner in the South Grey Chamber of Commerce. As such, the municipality receives one vote at chamber-related functions, such as the annual general meeting that is being held tonight in Flesherton. So staff are just seeking direction from council on who would like to be that appointee to have a vote.
All right. So we're looking for, I guess the first question would be, whom is going to that? 1, 2. I figured that you would be as being vice. But I'm going to suggest something. Tom, you're there, not only, you're always there as a deputy mayor type of thing, but you have a membership as well too.
Yeah, I'll be there as the current second vice for the Chamber of Commerce. So that'll be my role tonight
But you're
as a
not the-
business,
As a business. yeah,
as a business,
owner.
yes, not
Yeah.
as political. Thank you.
Yeah. So I'm just thinking at an annual general meeting, not that you wouldn't be a good representative, but if you carried West Grey's vote and you carried your own vote, anytime they asked to pass the minutes, you'd have both hands up.
I'm capable.
I don't want to ask how you've got that practice. Oh, well, yes, yeah, was one I didn't think of. Councillor Noon, you're planning on going? Is there anybody? Yeah, you said you.
Well, I was going to put a motion for that we appoint Councillor Noon because I did see her hand go up, so.
Yeah, now it could be, Jamie, go ahead.
Through you, Mayor Eccles, just procedurally, if there's more than one council member interested, then I think what would be most appropriate is to go through the nomination process. If there's only one, however, then there's no need to go through that formal process, just food for thought.
Yep, okay. The other factor is, Cody, it doesn't necessarily have to be a council member it's just an individual representing the municipality's membership to vote. So it could be designated to the staff member as well too. And am I correct in that?
Yes, through you, it could be designated to a staff member. If council were to consider appointing the vote to a staff member, I would recommend that it be a legislative position, either CAO or designate or clerk or designate, just as those are legislative positions. They don't change. So to be the cleanest, the CAO could appoint a staff member at the time of the AGM.
Okay.
That's an option as well to council.
Yeah. Not a recommendation, that's just the options that we have out there. But we do have a council member be able to represent the municipal vote. Do you want to run the election? No, okay. Councillor Hutchison. Doug?
I'll second Deputy Mayor's nomination if Joyce is interested.
Okay, we've got it moved and seconded. Would you accept that?
Well, I appreciate the confidence in my council in nominating me, but I'm wondering if maybe a staff person wouldn't be a better delegate, only because of internally how they can work with our economic, need in West Grey that, I don't know, maybe, I know Cody mentioned about CAO and the clerk, but I was even thinking maybe Cody himself because of what he represents for the corporation. But
I'm just gonna say, I think, Cody, you do have a very good connection with that. What this would be is just, we need somebody to be able to represent our membership when it becomes a membership vote on, as I said, at the AGM, the minutes or something of that nature. This isn't necessarily a representative to be at every chamber meeting to discuss policy or anything of that nature. It's, to cast our vote on the minutes of the AGM, those types of things. That's what we're looking for. Okay, clarification. Councillor Hutchison.
Thank you, Mayor Eccles. Yeah, tonight, the AGM will be about the budget, electing the new chamber board, because it's an annual And a few of the other just keeping items that are on the agenda, and that's really what essentially this is about. So Westgray does have a vote, which I can't do because I won't be there as a chamber member tonight. So we'll just be voting for Westgray.
So with all of that, the question is asked again. Would you accept the nomination, Councillor Noon?
Thank you. I will accept.
No, I'm not taking any more Go ahead.
Just comment. And someday when we get an economic development person, staff member, then maybe they would be on that represent our vote. So just something to look forward to, hopefully.
Okay. All right. So we have a motion on the floor to designate Councillor Noon. She's accepted that. Do we have any more nominations? Okay, we're going to close that part. Right, Jamie? Yes, good. Comment.
So through your miracles, the process prior where the deputy mayor and Councillor Hutchinson nominated Councillor Noon, that wasn't them moving and seconding a motion. That was just a nomination process. So we still need somebody to move and second the motion to appoint Councillor Noon as a voting member on behalf of Westgray.
That'd be Deputy Mayor Hutchison and Councillor Hutchison. Keep that straight. Okay, so we have it moved that Councillor Noon be the voting member for Westgray. And if I could speak, I think, Cody, the way the chamber, the South Grey chambers are, any member can, or anybody can go to their annual general meeting. It's just when they ask for a vote, if we have 7 council members there, 3 staff members, we don't have 10 people putting their hand up voting for, yeah, that it's just, we have 1 vote. Councillor Noon would be doing that if this motion passes. Motion on the floor. All those in favor? Absolutely you do. Yes, yes. That's unanimous, Joyce. Okay, thanks very much. Thank you, Cody. Director of Infrastructure and Public Works. Jeff.
Good morning.
Aiken. Good morning, sir. First one, well, the first and the only one you have here today is the 2023 wastewater annual reports. A fairly large one with a lot of graphs to go through. You have anything else you want to add to it? Go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, the report is very similar from what you saw last year. As I spend more time in Westgray, I get to know our systems in a bit more detail. So you have a bit more detail than you did in previous years, and kind of you get a feel of what I think are the immediate issues that we need to work towards to ensure efficiency within our systems. But other than that, I feel the report is self-explanatory.
Okay, thank you. Do we have a mover to, I guess the recommendation is to endorse or accept? Thank you, Councillor Hutchison and Councillor Noon. Any further comments on the motion? Councillor Hutchison, Doug?
Just a couple of questions for our director. Jeff, under the highlights, it mentions about the Newstead, the influent flow of the lagoons is high. Is that due to the infiltration from the, like we had some issues in Newstead with stormwater accessing, going into our sewage system? Is that what that's referring to?
So generally in most wastewater collection systems, you do have inflow and infiltration. However, in Newstead, the number is quite high. Staff have been working towards what I would perceive to be easy ones, such as resealing manholes to try to minimize that. However, the inflow or the influent going into the lagoons is still quite high. So after we get past the immediate pressure point of solving the capacity issue in Durham, I would like to turn our attention to the Newstat collection system and investigate a little further what is actually occurring there to see if we can reduce that. I think there's room for improvement there. It's just we have to kind of prioritize where we're headed. And right now, fixing the capacity issue in Durham is the priority. But yeah, we need to spend some time with Newstat to sort that out.
So my understanding, this topic's come up before in the past, and the thought was that there were some people that maybe have their downpipe from the eave troughs going into the sewage system, and I thought we gave the go-ahead to do some smoke testing and that type of thing, but obviously maybe that isn't happening yet. But it has been an issue in the past, and we have talked about it in the past. So I'm just curious that that's not happening yet.
Smoke testing is a really great idea, but there's nothing in the budget to support doing the smoke testing. And I think between that and carrying the system to see if we can kind of pinpoint where we're, see if we can find like a smoking gun, for example, no pun intended, I think are good jumping off points to begin the investigation in Newstat.
One further question. In your report, you talk about the creating a master servicing plan for roughly $100,000. So obviously that's not in our budget for this year, but maybe going forward. I'm just wondering, what would that give us, a master servicing plan? And that's different than what we're doing now in terms of trying to get a handle on what our capacity is and where we need to expand and so on.
Yes, and through your worship, it's actually more of a planning exercise than an engineering exercise. But we've mentioned in the past that we're reaching capacity for water and sewer in Durham. And at some point, development will probably tell you that you're getting close to what we would perceive to be full build out of the lands available to be serviced, specifically within what I would call the town proper plot of Durham. When that day comes, what's the plan? Are we done? Do you want to expand the urban plot? And if you did, where would you go and what would it look like? Initially, it'd be a bit more of a planning exercise, and I shouldn't put words in the planner's mouth, but at a high level, that would be the intent of it.
Okay. Just for my part and anybody out there, the Newstat system, what we were talking about for any clarity is the sewage system operates on the water. The water production in Newstat is at this level, and your sewage treatment should be somewhere in there, about there. But in Newstat, for unforeseen reasons and whatnot, the sewage treatment is 2.5 times the amount of water production that we have.
That's a reasonable analogy. Much simpler than the way I want to say things from a technical perspective. So thanks for making it understandable. I appreciate that.
Yep. Thank you, Jeff. Yeah. So we have some issues, and that, certainly is on what we can or how we can expand what's available for usage. And so we'll get to that. All right. At the present moment, so because of the size of the village and the size of the infrastructure that's there, we're maybe at 20% of the water production is used, but the sewage is north of 50%. Yeah. So if there is to be any expansion, we want to be able to use that for what it was built for. Okay. All right. Do we have that moved and seconded? Good. Any further questions for Director Aiken? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Okay, thank you very much. Jeff.
You're welcome.
Director of Community and Development Services, CBO. 11.3, 11.3.1, an appointment of a building inspector under the Building Code Act. Carl, what do you got for us?
Yes, thank you, Your Worship. So yeah, we have a new building inspector. He's been with us for a few months now. Andrew is actually sitting here to introduce you to council. He has, he's been with us for, like I said, for a couple months. He's been working on passing some exams, and he's passed his first two so far, taken some courses. So he's moving towards getting qualified to do plans review and inspections for housing. So hopefully that will come in the next few months, but we need a bylaw to appoint him so he can start putting his name on some drawings and things like that.
It's always a scary thing when you got to put your name down and in black and white. Okay, how need a motion to prepare the bylaw?
Through your miracles, yes, the recommendation of the report is that in consideration of the report, council directs staff to bring forward a bylaw to appoint Andrew Cornfield as a building inspector for the purpose of enforcement of the Building Code Act and any regulations and bylaws made thereunder, and repeal bylaw number 65, 2022 and 52, 2017.
Okay. Moved by Deputy Mayor Hutchison, seconded by Councillor Townsend. Any further questions on the motion? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Andrew, just like the building code, you've made the first step. We haven't passed the bylaw yet, but that's upcoming. I think by going 7-0 there. Welcome and a pleasure to have you on board, and look forward to great success and what you can bring from West Grey. So again, thank you for choosing this as a 35-year career. We'll see you around here a lot, right? Okay, we'll take 20. Yeah. Didn't know it was quite negotiable, but yeah, 20 is still great. Okay. 11.4. Director of Finance Treasurer / acting CAO / that's about it, isn't it? That's where it stops. Carrie? Yeah. 11.4.1 was the grants to organizations. Carrie's report is here. Anything you want to say before we step into this, Carrie?
I think it's all in the report. First decision point for council during budget discussions, suggestions were made that to split the fund between healthcare and general community grants. So that would be your first decision point, and then going through the balance of the applications received to allocate funding, if any.
Okay. So in the report, as Carrie said, her suggestion is the deal with the hospital funding. And does council want to look at that? Deal with those two. I'm going to suggest that the Center Grey Health Services Foundation, there was a pledge made a number of years ago. And this was towards the construction of the new Markdale Hospital. West Grey was to deliver, or had pledged, I forget the exact number, 190, 96, 97, 90,000, a little over $190,000, and to be delivered 10 years, could have been delivered 10 years after construction had started. So we're still building that fund up. It had been close, it got slightly depleted, But we'll need 13, I think your calculation, Carrie, is 13,800 for the next 10 years to make that, complete that obligation.
Yes, the balance that we had at the time was paid out to the hospital foundation. They did ask for some additional funding at the time, and the council of the day approved that. So starting in 2022 for 10 years, 13,850 is the pledge amount that the previous council had made.
Okay. Tom.
Thank you, Mayor Eccles. If we're going to jump into a conversation, discussion around the Durham Hospital Foundation, I think I will declare, because I do sit on that board. So if we're going to have that, maybe I will declare exit from that and then come back to the others, if that makes sense.
Yep.
So I don't know which point you want to do that, but I think I have a declaration here, clerk, so I'll fill that out.
Yeah, and I think how I'm going to suggest we do it is the Center Grey Health Services Foundation, make sure that that is left in there at this point in time to be able to get to that commitment. I think is very obvious for us. So, Jamie, do we want to do that one as the 13,850 be there as an individual motion that we put 13,850 towards Center Grey? Jamie?
Through you, Mayor Eccles, based on the number of requests received, I think it would be most appropriate for each of the requests to be dealt with through a separate individual motion, given that the request amount and the budgeted amount for grants to organizations do not line up. So for this one, yes, it would be appropriate if council wishes to provide $13,850 to the Center Grey Health Services. A motion be made to provide that amount to them from the 2024 community grants budget.
Okay, thank you. All right, so we'll deal with the Center Grey Hospital first. Do I have a mover for that motion? Councillor Hutchison and Councillor Nin. Okay, so that's to for 13,850 for our pledge to the Center Grey Health Foundation for our pledge. Yeah, so that was Hutchison and Nin. Okay. Any further questions on this one? Call the question. All those in favor? Good. That was easy. Now it starts being a little bit harder from here on in. The second one we'll look at is Durham Hospital Foundation. I want to say that Deputy Mayor is declaring a conflict on this, as he is a member of the Hospital Foundation Board. So noted.
You may want to be here, that's all.
Just declaring a conflict, he's already declared the conflict, so he can't be engaged in the conversation. It doesn't mean that he has to leave the room. He can sit in the back. Yeah, leave it at that. Good. Yep, Tom. Doug?
So my suggestion is, I agree. I think we're committed to the Center Grey Health Services. We have to continue on with that. I would like to leave the Durham Hospital Foundation till the end. As we go through these other ones, because obviously we have too many requests and not enough money. So my suggestion is, I would like to support our Federation of Agricultures, a lot of the agriculture societies who come forward. I would like to suggest that we, and I'm just throwing this number out there, give them each $1,000. Then we look at some of the other ones' requests and decide whether we're going to do anything. But then figure that out in terms of total, and then we look at how much money's left that we may be put towards the Durham Hospital Foundation this year. I do believe, and I have said this before, I do think that this is the wrong budget for the hospital foundations and for supporting. It actually, even in the policy, if you look at the policy, it says in here that there's item number 6, that what the grant program will not fund ineligible expenses. Programs This includes funds to top up shortfalls for government mandate programs. Some examples include school board education programs, public health programs, provincially mandated childcare service, social assistance programs, and healthcare services. So right in our policy, I think that says that we should not be supporting hospitals from this fund. So I think in our next budget, we need to separate it, have a budget of 25,000 or 30,000, whatever, to cover the Senator Gray plus whatever else we want to give to local hospital, and put a cap on this fund of donations of $10,000, and then within that, and maybe we need to adjust our policy, but within our policy, we cap it at $1,000. People come to us and ask for $1,000. We have people coming to us for $5,000. And some of the organizations aren't even really based in West Grey. They're from other. So it's almost like, okay, West Grey is a cash cow. Let's ask them for some money and see where we go. So if they know that coming in, the maximum they're going to get is $1,000, which writes off a lot of our local groups that are asking for, 500, 1,000, maybe 2,000. I think if we cap it 1,000, it simplifies the process. We don't have to spend a long time at it. And the people out there realize, okay, I'm not gonna get a whole bunch of money to do this event that I want to do. I can ask West Grey and maybe they'll give me $1,000, but that's it. The rest of it, I'm gonna have to come up with the money ourselves. So I'm just throwing that out there. So that's why I was suggesting maybe Tom wants to be here, because I think if we go through these and see where we end up in terms of our funds, and then we look at, okay, what's left over that maybe we can put towards our hospital foundation this year. And then going forward, we look at changing some things. So that's my suggestion. I'm suggesting $1,000 for our ag societies and whatnot, but if you want to go through them individually, that's fine with me too.
So I'm going to say, from interpreting this, you're putting a motion forward to defer anything on the Durham Hospital Foundation. Procedurally, I'm looking at my clerk to give advice here.
Through your miracles, we have to go through each of these individually as it is, so we don't have to deal with them in any particular order. A motion to defer would complicate the process, and I would suggest that we just pick and choose each item that we want to deal with in order that we want to deal with them, rather than doing a motion to defer. We will address everything through this staff report, and each of these items will have their own individual motions. So if we want to start with the community initiatives grants and circle back to the Durham Hospital Foundation at the end, that's totally fine, but no motion to defer would be required.
Okay. I'm going to take your suggestion, Councillor Hutchison. I'm going to leave it to ask Tom to come back in. And I'm going to say, you might as well stop right there, Tom. No, yeah, you can see. Procedurally, what we're going to do with this, and I can't give you direction, you'll have to make up your own mind. We're going to deal with the community initiatives grants and then come back to the hospital foundation. So basically seeing what it's going to come to from Councillor Hutchison's suggestion, we deal with these and then we see basically deal with the foundation at the end. So dealing with all these numbers, there will be a number at the foundation at the end. You make your decision whether you feel that that would be a conflict dealing with it that way, or you can sit, okay? Yep. But that's how we're going to deal with it. So you, that would be your brother, Doug.
So yeah, appreciate the twist there, Councillor Hutchison. Okay, so I know I obviously can't get a hold of an integrity this short notice, and I'm not going to hold up council for it, but I think what you've said procedurally, you want to deal with the other ones, and by doing that, then what's left over would be what would be awarded to the foundation. Is that how I'm reading
Or
that,
could be,
clerk?
yeah.
Or could be? Okay.
Yeah.
So based on that, I think I need to declare all the way through because clerk, you do want to say something?
Three miracles. I'm not providing conflict advice, but what I will say is that we're going to address each of these individual items one by one, and then the vote at the end would be, the last item that we deal with would be the hospital foundation. I can't give you advice on what to do, but that's what I'm going to say.
So that's exactly where I was going. So based on that, it could be viewed that I'm not endorsing some throughout so that I'm gonna capture it at the end. Therefore, I'm gonna declare on the whole item. And then that's total transparency that I'm not involved with it, I think would be most appropriate. So I will sit there and then I'll wait for you to call me back in.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, very good. All right. I'm going to deal with the first one on the list is the Durham Agricultural Society. We've had these, the Director of Finance had them out to us, and the scoring is there, the funding request is there, and it's up to council to make the decision on what we're looking for a motion on the Durham Agricultural Society. The request is 2,500. A motion to put a number forward. Councillor Hutchison.
Okay, so this is the Durham Ag Society, you said, right?
Yes.
Okay, so in the past, 2023, they received $500, and the request this year is 2,500. So my suggestion was we make it 1,000, and with the idea that we're sort of putting it out there that maybe going forward, we're looking at making some changes and we're going to start capping these things. So I think it's important that we set a precedent maybe this time if we're interested in doing something different going forward. So I'm suggesting that we give them $1,000, which will be similar to what the other ag societies are asking for. And then we're consistent.
Okay. So you're putting a motion forward that we give $1,000 to the Durham Ag Society. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Shea. Thank you. Comments, questions on that one? Seeing none, I will ask for the vote. Durham Agricultural Society, $1,000. All those in favor? That's carried. Newstead Normanby Carrick Agricultural Society. The request is for $2,500. Councillor Townsend.
Following the lead of Councillor Hutchinson, I make a motion for $1,000.
Okay, so moved. We have a seconder for that. Councillor Shea. Thank you. Councillor Hutch, comment.
Just a note, in the past, they received, I had 500 to 1,000, so it must vary or something, but from my research, that's sort of the ballpark they've asked in the past.
Yeah. Councillor Townsend.
Just as a follow-up and kind of going along with Councillor Hutchinson. When we do this process, my opinion is we should be treating them all equally. So if we're giving $1,000 to the Durham Fair, we give $1,000 to the Newstead Fair. If we give X amount of dollars to the Benwick Plowman, we give X amount of dollars to the Normanby Plowman. We treat everything within the municipality equally and the same. We don't do a higher amount for one over another. That's just a comment.
Okay. All right, so we have a motion for the Newstead Normanby Carrick Ag Society, $1,000. Any further comments? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. 8 and 4-H, Grey County 4-H Leaders Association. This one is our 8 and the 8 and 4-H part of the overall Grey County. The request is for $1,600 $1,680. And how do we want to? Any suggestions? Councillor Hutchison. Good.
Yeah, a note in this one that they're asking for the 1680 was for hall rental costs. So again, I'm suggesting $1,000 to help cover the hall rental costs. If we cover the whole thing, then we're, again, treating this group different than maybe some of the other groups. So I'm suggesting $1,000 towards hall rental costs.
Okay. Do we have a seconder for that? Councillor Noon. Thank you, Joyce. Any questions or comments? Sorry. Clerk, Jamie.
Through Mayor Echols to Councillor Hutchinson, is your intent to capture in the motion that it's to be used for hall rental, or is granting them $1,000 from the 2024 community grants budget for 2024 sufficient?
Maybe I'll defer to our Director of Finance, but it says in here that usage of Ayton Centennial Hall for 21 meetings in total in 2024. So I don't know what would be the easiest way to do that. I know we do in-kind contributions sort of thing, rather than giving free hall rentals, we give them money and then they put it towards whatever. So maybe I'll ask our director to comment on that.
We can do it either way, whether you want it to be a credit on their account towards hall rentals, or if you want to give them $1,000 and we just charge them for every single rental that they have.
Through Mayor Echols, yeah, I think operationally it's not really something that we have to worry about right here and now. I was just more so concerned of whether or not you wanted specifically in the motion that it be used for hall rental, or if we could just leave it as it is, noting that their request was specifically for hall rentals. For the other two motions that we've done, we haven't specified what they can use it for. Again, with the understanding being that their request was specific in what they're going to be using the funds for. So in future, if they show us when they provide their report to us later on that they didn't use the funds for that, then they would be ineligible for future years because they didn't use them for what they had committed to using those funds for.
So how is the motion, how would you have it written up, Jamie?
Through you, I have that in consideration of staff report 2024 grants to organizations. Council grants $1,000 to Ayton 4-H/Grey County 4-H Leaders Association from the 2024 community grants budget for 2024.
Yep, that's what Councillor Hutchison is looking for. All right, any other questions on this one? Joyce, Councillor Noon.
I understand. I second that motion, but I was just thinking with the in-kind, if we're looking at giving it solely for the in-kind for hall rentals, that we cap rentals, say maybe at 10 rentals a year. So that if other organizations request the same, that we can cap them all at that many. But maybe that wouldn't work though, because maybe some don't need 10 rentals, but I was just kind of wondering if we could kind of, again, for future needs or recommendations, that we table the rentals that we give the in-kind for.
Jamie?
Through Mayor Echols, I don't know that we would need to specifically cap the number of days that can be rented. Should council provide $1,000 as opposed to $1,680, that in itself would reduce the number of days that we would subsidize for them for rentals. So if council only gave them $160, then I'm assuming it would be one rental or something like that. So I don't know that we need to specifically put a number on the number of rentals or the amount of rentals, but just noting that that dollar amount would only cover so many and they would be required to fund the rest.
Okay, any other questions, comments? Call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Bennick Plowman's Association. The request is for $380. We have a thought on this one. Counselor Hutchison, Doug?
If I may, I'm sort of leading the show here, but that's okay. Don't be afraid to throw it out there if you want to change something, but the Bentinck's Plowmen's Association, so that's a little bit different, right? Because they've only asked for $380. So $200 we've given them to the past. They're asking for 180 for hall rental. So I'm not sure what, like, do we want to do the same like we said before, or give them $1,000 when they're only asking for 380? Or do we give them the 380 that they're asking for? I'm open for ideas on this one.
I'm going to suggest, I think that the thought of $1,000 was if it's an ag society, we have 2 ag societies in West Grey, we treat them both the same. If we had, and if we do have 2 plowmen's associations, that we treat them fairly. Not that it be the same as the ag societies, it's that we treat similar organizations within the municipality the same. Am I explaining that right, Councillor Townsend? What we have here, so we do have 2 plowmen's associations, but only one's applied. The other one hasn't applied, so it was out there for everybody, and that's what we need to have. Councillor Townsend.
I was just gonna ask, did we get any late or anything from Normanby? Because I know I was approached about it, so.
We've not received one from them yet at this point.
Yeah. Okay, with that, Jeffrey, Councillor Shea.
Move that we approve $300.
Councillor Shea moves the Bentinck Plowman Association for $300. Seconder for that? Councillor Noon. Thank you, Joyce. Any questions or comments on that? Doug?
So I'm a little confused based on what you had said and what Councillor Townsend said. I thought we were saying that we need to treat them the same, so we would give them $1,000 rather than $300. Was that not to say, or we're just saying give them the same amount?
Yeah, if it was the 2 Norman, if the 2 plowmen's associations come in, those 2 groups are very similar.
Right.
Then we wouldn't treat one different than the other.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So the 2 ag societies will treat them the same. 2 plowmen's associations will treat them the same.
Okay.
If we've got 4 4-H clubs that made the application, we try and treat them the same.
Okay, thank you.
In groups. Bentinck Plowman is 300. Okay. Moved and seconded. Anything else? Comments? All in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Okay. Durham Art Gallery. The Durham Art Gallery is looking for a donation, and their funding request is $2,000. How does council wish to address this? Excuse me. Councillor Hutchison. Doug?
I'm just curious, did we miss one on the list here? I've got Newstead Night Market. Is it further down, or where is it? Oh, sorry.
It was removed from it. It is more of a commercial enterprise. We shouldn't have forwarded it through during your assessments. So it's not on the report that you have going forward.
Thank you, Carrie. So the Durham Art Gallery, the request is for $2,000. Any suggestions, or somebody want to make a move? Councillor Noon.
I recommend we provide $1,000 as well to the art gallery.
Okay, moved by Councillor Noon for $1,000 to the art gallery. Seconder, Councillor Hutchison. Thank you. Comments, Doug?
Yeah, so this one, we used to support the Durham Art Gallery through the Economic Development Committee, and then we stopped that. And I don't believe we gave them anything for a couple of years, maybe. Yeah. So I guess I have sort of mixed feelings on this one. I know they do great service for the community. They have had a huge donation from a local citizen in the past. And I'm not sure what we gave them in the past. Do you remember, Doctor, what the contribution was?
I think it had varied over the years from 1,000 to 4,000 or 5,000. But it's been a few years since we've contributed anything, and now we have this program.
Oh, yeah, so I'd be okay with $1,000. I just say, like I say, I think they do a great service for our community, so I'd be okay with that. Thank you.
Any further comments? Call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. All right. The next one that we have on the list qualifies as the Gray Zone Collective. And they're asking for $2,500. Anybody have any suggestions on this one? Councillor Nunn.
This was one that I was opposed to. I really don't know if it's really West Gray based, and based on the financial component that they submitted, like they're giving out donations to different organizations, and then they're asking for a donation. So this is one that I thought that we don't support.
Okay. Any other suggestions or thoughts? Councillor Hutchison.
Yeah, I question this one too. I just wondered, is this a not-for-profit? Like it wasn't clear on that. It's just not. You know what?
Gary, do you have any comments on that?
I'm not sure whether it specified that in the application. Did you have it there? Application.
Thank you, and through you. It doesn't specify explicitly in the application if they are not for profit. Looking at the budget they had submitted, one could assume that they're not for profit. However, they did not state in the application.
And Jeffrey, Councillor Shea.
I think they've operated informally as a not-for-profit, but I've heard through the grapevine that they're applying for official not-for-profit status because they're trying to grow their operation. But that's informally.
Okay. All right. Jamie.
Thank you, Mayor Echols, and through you, if council doesn't want to support any of the requests that have been made through this report, a motion to forego providing a grant to that particular group would be in order, just to close the loop on that request. So in the event that any of them don't get supported, that would be what we would need to do.
And just before that, do you want to take those as individually? Yeah, okay. Yeah.
I'd move that we support them to the tune of $500.
Okay, so we have a mover for $500. Do we have a seconder for that? No, I don't see a seconder, Jeff. We'll let that one go. Do we have any other motion? Either for a different amount or not support? Councillor Townsend.
I will make a motion to forego this one.
Okay. Councillor Townsend moves to not support the Gray Zone Collective this time. Do I have a seconder? Councillor New. Joyce? Okay. Any further comments on this? Call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Okay. Saugeen Valley Pony Club. Their funding request is for $5,482.51. Fairly specific. Is this like the grocery store? We round everything up, so we just 50 cents. We don't deal in pennies anymore. What are we thoughts on this, Councillor Hutchison? Doug?
Yeah. I don't believe this is a non-profit organization, and I also think from reading it, the membership is very small. So it looks like to me it's a pony club. Like locally, it's very small, but I think maybe it's larger outside our area. So I don't know. It just seems like a small group that has a business or an organization, and they're looking for money, and it's not a small ask, $5,000. So I don't think this one really fits the bill. I would make a motion that we do not support this one.
Okay. Move to deny Saugeen Valley Pony Club. Moved by Councillor Hutchison. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Forster. Okay. Any further questions, comments? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That one is declined. I think this is the last one that we have, is the Bruce Gray Mentorship Program. And their request is another one that's pretty specific, $4,868.18. Yeah, yes. If we're moving the other one down to 50, this one gets moved up to 20. How do you want to deal with this? Councillor Hutchison again.
Oh, sorry, I'm already on there.
Yeah, you are.
Well, I've been leading the show, so I'll give you one more, and then I think I'm pretty much done. So in this one, I found that this application lacked a lot of detail, first of all. And there's a big cost to West Gray. It needs sponsors besides Bruce and Gray, because it's such a large organization. So it's not just West Gray, it's Gray and Bruce. It's interesting that the office is located in Hanover, and there is I was curious of number of West Gray kids that are involved. It doesn't really say, but so there's a lot of missing parts, I think, on this one, and again, this was one I would suggest that we don't support at this time.
Okay. Councillor Hutchison makes motion to deny. We have a seconder for that. Councillor Forster. Any questions or comments on this? From the chair, I'd just like to ask, has this ever been supported before? Carrie?
This was a new organization and type of request for us.
Yep, okay. Any further questions, clarification? Call the question. All those in favor? Motion to deny, that is carried. Okay. So those are the only ones that we have. With that, Doug.
I'll just continue on with that sentence. With that, if our director would, it's not like we're married or anything.
Well, not that I'm aware of.
If our director would sort of tally up what we've spent and see what we have left, and maybe we can make a donation to our Durham Hospital Foundation.
Carrie, please, let's move this along.
Through you, Mayor. So the total for community grants that you've spent then is $4,300. 1,000 to the Durham Egg Society, 1,000 to the Normandy Newstead Carrick Egg Society, $1,000 to 8 and 4-H, 300 to Bentic Plowmans, 1,000 to the Art Gallery. We have also, you've passed a motion to continue with the pledge for the Senator Gray Hospital of $13,850. So that's a total of $18,150, leaving a balance in the budget item of $11,700.
So there's a balance of 11,700. What, and that's it, that's in this budget line. I guess what I'm gonna suggest, or put out there is that's what's in the budget. If there was anything, a little rainy day fund or anything, if it is all spent today, it's all gone. If there's an emergency or something comes up later in the year, then we don't have any money. So I'll just leave it at that. Councillor Hutchison. Doug?
Well, I'm going to suggest that we put $10,000 toward the foundation and keep 1,700 just as a rainy day fund in case something comes up that we really feel we'd like to support, then we have an option.
Okay. So the motion is to have a $10,000 donation to the Durham Hospital Foundation. All right. Do I have a seconder for that? No. Okay. Is there any other thoughts on what to do here? Councillor Shay.
I move we award the Durham Hospital Foundation $13,850, the same as Markdale, and that we take the excess from a rainy day fund that seems to magically appear when we need it.
Deficit financing. Huh, I thought that was a provincial and a federal thing. Jamie, procedurally here, help me.
Through your miracles specifically, we don't have a budget item called the rainy day fund, so we would need you to specify where specifically that's coming from.
Sure. I will ask the Director of Finance if it's possible to exceed the budget amount so that we're giving to the two hospital foundations equitably.
It is your decision, but this is a discretionary line item that you have full control over. It's not like the building maintenance line item here and I have a furnace that blows up and I have to fix it and I go over budget. That was unforeseeable. This is a completely controllable line item that you should be able to stay within, but it is your decision as council. You will be deficit financing as indicated, going over this. You could adjust the other amounts that you have approved. If your intention was to donate the same amount to both hospitals, you could revisit what you have done already, if the clerk, if that's procedurally, and reduce the other ag societies by $500 each or whatever to make up the difference. But that would be my recommendation, that you stay within the budgeted line item, as this is a completely discretionary in your control.
Okay. Further, Jeff?
So I don't think my motion was seconded or even properly
hadn't looked for a secondary.
properly worded. So perhaps I could revise it and say that I'd move that we contribute the remainder of the amount in this budget to the Durham Hospital Foundation.
11,700, I believe is what it is. Okay, so Councillor Shay has moved that the remaining funds of $11,700 go to the Durham Hospital Foundation. Okay. And just to be clear, the funding towards the health centers is going to the foundation, not some suggestion it went to the hospitals. It is to the foundations that work directly with the hospitals. It's not to the hospitals themselves. Just so we're clear. Moved by Councillor Shay that the remaining funds go to the Durham Hospital Foundation. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Noon. Very good. Okay, any further comments? Councillor Townsend. Doug?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. One thing, again, talking about being using all our parts of our municipality equally. Unfortunately, given the size of West Grey, everybody does not just go to the Durham Hospital. There's Chesley, there's Hanover, there's Mount Forest, there's Markdale, and there's Durham. There's 5 hospitals which touch the citizens of West Grey. And again, going back to treating everybody equally in the future, I know we can't do it now, but in the future, we should look at simply a hospital fund to deal with the foundations and treat all the foundations equally. Because as I say, our citizens don't all go to the Durham Hospital. They go to all the other hospitals. And given the current climate of hospitals and emergencies and everything like that, we should be supporting all our neighboring partners as much as we can too, because there's many times one's closed and the other one's open. So again, to equally represent the municipality as we were elected to do, we should be looking at donating to all of the hospital foundations, but that'll be a future budget deliberation.
Okay. Motion on the floor. Further comments? Councillor Noon.
Thank you. It's just more of a housekeeping item too with the grants to organizations. West Grey put it out there to forward deadlines to submit your requisitions for funding. And I think we should hold ourselves to that. If something else does come forward within the next year, within this term of the budget year, that we should inform the public then that submit your requisition for next in 2025. I also think that we need, I'm not sure as a council, and maybe the clerk could clarify this, should we put a motion on the floor to keep the hospital healthcare separate from grants to organizations, that we put this budget item in for 2025?
I'm going to comment that it would probably be best if that not be done today, but it be addressed at a budget meeting. We could do it there. Yeah. Scott? Councillor Forster.
Right, my question is, we had surplus item auction, and my notice of motion stated that those funds would go to grants to organizations. So I just wondered if that funds were already in here.
Carrie?
No, the first auction that we had was 300. We were anticipating, because at budget time, we didn't know this amount, that it would go into 2025's allocation.
Okay, good. All right. Motion on the floor. No more discussion. I'm going to call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? Okay, that's carried. And I think if I could, just one comment. The variance between is we've put in the Markdale Hospital was our commitment to the capital, West Grey's capital, and Carrie's always struggled on where to put that in to the budget, so it's in this line. The Durham Hospital Foundation is in support of upgrading those types of activities at the Durham Hospital site. And I think it's very easy to say, Durham doesn't get as much as Markdale, but it's a commitment that we made to the capital, and that's where that budget, that is going to be directed towards the capital of the building of it. So it's defendable in this case. What are we, 3 years into this now? So in 7 years' time, I think then we can certainly look at a different number for the Markdale Hospital Foundation, but commitment is there, but that will be what the number is going forward. And we'll address the other issues at the time of budget on whether we pull that hospital foundation funding out and be a separate line item away from community organizations. Doug?
I just wanted to clarify a point in our policy that goes back to maybe Councillor Noon's comment about applications. Applications submitted after January 31st will be reviewed on a case-by-case basis, subject to funding availability. So it's not a hard and fast date. It says take your chances if you come in after January 31st. So given that we've moved to spend it all, we need to let people know that if they come forward for an application, there's no money in the budget this year.
Yep. Certainly. Okay. I think that's it for this portion of it. I'm going to ask if we've been here for an hour and a half, an hour and 40 minutes, take a 10-minute recess, and we can find our deputy mayor and bring him back in to start. So we'll Meeting back to order. Back up and going, Ashley. Thank you. And down on staff reports. We're through, and I believe now we're down to Director of Legislative Services, Clerk, report on a land transfer. Jamie.
Thank you, Mayor Eccles. At its September 5th, 2023 meeting, council authorized the mayor and clerk to enter into an infrastructure responsibility and cost sharing agreement with the County of Grey. As part of this agreement, West Grey committed to transferring Part 1 of Plan 17R-1602 to Grey County as part of the Rockwood Terrace project. Part 1 of Plan 17R-1602 forms part of a legal roadway. And prior to transferring the land, West Grey must first declare it surplus and pass a bylaw to stop up and close the road. At this time, we have received a request from Grey County requesting that the lands be transferred to them so they may continue on with the Rockwood Terrace development project. So the recommendation in the report is for council to declare Part 1 of Plan 17R-1602 to be surplus to the needs of the municipality. Direct staff to bring forward a bylaw to stop up and close Part 1 of Plan 17R-1602, and direct staff to bring forward any bylaws necessary to facilitate the transfer of Part 1 of Plan 17R-1602 to the Corporation of the County of Grey.
Thank you, Jamie. Technicalities of that. Any questions on the report? Very well done and straightforward. I'm going to move this project along. Need someone to move the recommendation. Movement, Deputy Mayor Hutchison. Seconder, Councillor Townsend. Thank you. Any comments on the motion? Call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. All right. Manager. Yes, the next one is 11.6. Our Manager of Planning and Development will be able to join us, I hope. Just ask and the gentleman appears. Yeah. Welcome this morning, Manager Smith. And I believe your report is consent agreement with Can-Do Homes. Anything further than what's in the report or synopsis there, Dave?
No, Mr. Mayor, other than questions from yourself and council.
Okay. Any questions on the report? Notifications? Then the recommendation is there, the consideration staff report Can-Do Homes 2020 consent agreement, council authorized mayor clerk sign the consent agreement with Can-Do for 187 Fowler Street, Newstead. So this is on the development on the former hotel, the old hotel property on the corner of the east side of Newstead on County Road 9. Okay. Do I have anybody to move the recommendation? Moved by Councillor Forster, seconded by Councillor Hutchison. Any questions or comments on that? Councillor Noon on the motion.
Just an observation, we kind of have the horse before the cart here. I think that Can-Do is already putting this infrastructure in for that development.
Partly.
Yeah, that's it. Yes, some work has already started there and whatnot, but this is finalizing some of the road work, sidewalk.
Right. And
intentions.
so we have a really obviously relationship with the County of Grey on Grey Road 9, and then we have our own control over Forler. Forler is within the Director of Public Works domain, and therefore what he decides there is allowed to go ahead. What goes with the County of Grey is a bigger relationship. So there, no. Forler, yes.
All right. Anything further on the motion? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Dave. Director of Development in the CBO. We have a small project that you would like to give us an update on there. Carl?
Yes, thank you, Your Worship. So through you, and I apologize to council for the late notice on this meeting or on this staff report. Tender just closed on April 11th. And just the timing with wanting to get it on this council meeting rather than waiting to the next meeting so we can get moving forward if council so chooses with the contract approval and things like that, get construction started on this project. The staff report's pretty self-explanatory. The estimated cost or the police service building cost would be 8.8 million with the proposed developer. This cost includes a $300,000 contingency. We'd like to authorize the mayor and clerk to sign all necessary documents with Dom Construction to construct with West Grey Police Services building and direct staff to investigate construction financing and bring a report back at a future council meeting to determine how the 8.8 million will be funded. In general, I myself and the architect both believe that this is a good proposal, good costing that was very competitive. There were 3 proposals right within a very close margin. We actually received a 4th proposal that was very close as well, but it was received after the closing time, so it was not considered, but that proposal was very close in price as well. So it is competitive. We believe the Dom Construction would be a good choice, and we'd like to move forward with that at council's approval.
Very good. I think Dom's have done some work for the municipality prior.
I think we're sitting in a building that they built. Yeah.
That would be correct. Okay. Any further comments or questions on the report? Councillor Hutchison.
There you go. Just the so the tender for this tender that for Dom's includes parking area, driveways, and landscaping. It does not include the road works and servicing. And then it goes on to say the engineering for the road works and servicing is development is being completed, and tender for this portion will be issued early summer. Is that going to create an issue when the official road and whatnot and servicing is not in? Like ideally that would be done before you start building your buildings, right? But is there going to be any issues with that happening after?
Through your wish. So yeah, potentially there could be 3 construction projects on this property going on at the same time with the county proposing to build the paramedic station as well. We have talked to the architects and we have spoke with the county as well as our consultants. We don't believe it's going to be an issue. We believe the existing current entrance to that property will be used for the construction entrance for the proposed for both the paramedic station as well as the police station. And then the road work would be able to completed sort of around the police station and paramedic station. So we believe we can make it work. It is going to be a busy situation there this year. Yeah, ideally, you know, when you're building like a normal subdivision process, you would do the road work first, and then, you know, do the lots or whatever proposed on each individual lot second. In this case, the original proposal was to not have roads. The proposed roads in the original proposal were more driveways. They weren't proposed as a road necessarily, and that would have all been included in this tender. The road or the future driveways that we removed those from this tender, and just made it easier. We believe it would also be more competitive because the tender for that project will likely be bid on by a road construction servicing company rather than having another contractor in there and being involved in increasing the fees. So we believe this way would reduce the construction costs, very similar to what the Rockwood long-term care is doing. They're just they are building their roads first and then the building second because they had no other way to access the property. In this case, we can access the property through the current entrance off of Gray Road 4 that exists today. And then the future road development would happen around the building.
Okay. Very exciting times. Any further questions or comments? So there is a recommendation there to accept Dom's. Do I have a mover and a seconder? Moved by Deputy Mayor Hutchison, seconded by going to go with Councillor Townsend. Okay. Any further questions, comments? Other than this will be one of the bigger projects that West Gray has entered into, and look forward to watching it happen. And some work going on at the site already, and I think some preparation work is being completed today, if I'm not mistaken. Great times, booming times in West Gray. With that, no other comments on the motion. Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That is carried unanimously. Thank you, Carl. This would be one question, Carl, and that would be on this recommendation. Did I see that the start date would be next Monday?
We don't have an anticipated start date. We do have a completion date that was part of the contract. And that was 16 months from signing of the contract was completion date. I have had some informal conversations with the top 3 bidders just to confirm what their proposed construction timelines were. And Dom's did say that they were able to, they would be looking to start as fast as they possibly can. They have people ready and wanting to move forward right away.
Yep. Okay. Thank you for the secondary information, Carl. All right. That is done. Questions? Any council members have any questions from anything? Councillor Shea. Jeffrey?
We had previously scheduled a delegation. We had issued an invitation to the chair of the Durham Foundation, Hospital Foundation. I don't know if her title is chair. And then that got put on hold. I don't know, is that still in the works? I don't know who to direct the question to.
Legislative Services. Jamie?
Thank you, Mayor Eccles, and through you. So at the time the delegation was pulled, the executive director of the Durham Hospital Foundation indicated to me that they would be reaching out at a later date to set up that delegation. So I have not heard anything back on that yet. Perhaps one of the executive members on the Durham Hospital Foundation knows something about that. Looking to the deputy mayor.
Being you declared that you were on that foundation today.
Evidently, yeah. No, and you can refer to Ms. Days either as the president or the chair. So that's, I think, the double title over there. And there's been no follow-up. We do have a new ED, and I think that's all settled in. So probably within the next month, they're going to be approaching us. Okay.
Yep, very good. That's good. And I think that may have had some of it to do with it, with the executive director retiring and finding a new executive director for the foundation board, which is in place, and look forward to working with it. Any other questions? We have. Seeing none, then we're down to bylaws. We have 3 bylaws. Bylaw 2024-035, -036, and -037, confirming appointing the building inspector and the boundary road agreement with Gray Highlands. We can do these all unless there is one to be pulled. Seeing nobody wishing to pull any of the bylaws, do I have a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councillor Noon. Seconder, Councillor Townsend. Questions on the motion? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That is carried. Very good. New business. Do we have any new business? None that I'm aware of. I don't think, Jamie, you don't have anything. That brings us down to announcements. Any announcements from any member of council? Councillor Forrester first. Scott?
Right. Our second adult roller skating will be happening this Saturday in Newstead, 7 to 10. It was fairly popular last time. Newstead Craft Show will be Saturday, May 4th, 9:30 to 4. It's going to be the largest spring one ever, both the community center and the arena. And I think there might be only one booth space left. And also on Saturday, May 4th at 6 p.m., the Normanby Optimist Club is having their murder mystery, Mean Acres, based on the TV show Green Acres. Advance tickets only are $40 each.
Looking forward to always the high excellence of the acting abilities from the Normanby Optimist Club and how they can incorporate the audience so easily. Anything else? Councillor Nain, Joyce?
I had the privilege of attending the Bruce Power Community Leaders Breakfast this past Friday. Very good speaker, James Skongak, Public Relations, gave an overview of Bruce Power. Bruce A and B completed with 8 units in place. 1, 2, and 6 have been retubed. Unit 3 is down right now, currently in rehab. Units 4, 5, 7, and 8 currently operating and scheduled for rehab in the following years. He gave an overview of nuclear being a clean, green energy source. He gave the proposed sea plant in development stages. Also, which I was really taken by, was the fact that Bruce Power also contributes a big part in fight against cancer and disease by supplying key isotopes worldwide. These isotopes help keep hospitals clean and safe and treat brain tumors. The Bruce has now extended their focus to include treatment of breast and prostate cancers. Another speaker, I just got his first name, Robert, but he gave what he represents is statistics that they provide to different organizations. And he gave kind of an overview on some statistics. Currently, healthcare, housing, and inflation are the most important issues in Canada right now. He did say, well, from those statistics, that overall the perception from the public is negative. It's not a positive insight right now, the way things are happening in not only in our own province, our own municipality, but Canada-wide. The Canadians wish list was another one he used for the federal budget today, and I just gave a few. Help with increasing cost of everyday expenses, greater investment in healthcare, freeze the carbon tax, and to support the transition to a greener energy. They also gave the support for electrical generation by source. Currently, solar power is 91%, hydroelectric power is 91%, wind power is 88%, natural gas 77%, nuclear energy is 66%, and coal is still at 36%, even though it's a dying entity of energy. So anyways, just a recap of some of the things I learned while attending that breakfast. Thank you.
Very good. Councillor Townsend. Doug?
Thank you. And like Councillor Noon, I too attended the Bruce County or the Bruce Power breakfast. And one of the other interesting things, the gentleman that spoke on the doing the survey said, if you're ever doing a survey, make sure that your survey includes cellular customers, because the average age of a person picking up a landline today is 67 years of age. And you'd be very hard pressed to get somebody under 60 answering a landline. So if we're ever doing surveys, it's something to keep in mind that the survey company does cellular. On another note, West Grey will be hosting its first Hike for Hospice coming up on May the 5th from 1 to 4 at the Durham Conservation Area. This Hike for Hospice is put on by Saugeen Hospice. So just to clarify for folks out there, everyone's familiar with Chapman House in Owen Sound. Saugeen Hospice is the new hospice to be constructed in Walkerton, which will be taking in Southern Bruce and Grey Counties residents over there once it gets built in the next couple of years. So there's currently fundraising activities going on. There's a Hike for Hospice April 28th in Hanover, and then the other 3 are all on May 5th in Durham, Mildmay, and Walkerton, raising funds for the Saugeen Hospice. So for those people that can attend, that would be a great way to show support. Also on another note, there was the Knights of Columbus hosted a breakfast this past weekend. Stealing the mayor's thunder here. Over in Walkerton, and I believe they raised $12,500 for Saugeen Hospice. So a lot of great things happening with that organization, and it's coming together over there to get it built and operational. Thanks.
Yes, I did make the Knights of Columbus, and it's not in Walkerton, it's the Walkerton Mildmay Knights of Columbus, so it's on Highway 9 between, you know. And somebody from Mildmay will always tell you what's the best thing that's ever come out of Walkerton, the road to Mildmay. Anything else? One thing that I did on behalf of the municipality on Saturday evening, the Elmwood and District Chamber of Commerce, their annual general meeting, their 75th annual meeting, matter of fact, the chamber, and it's misnomered, I guess really is the best way. They've always, haven't always, they've gone through 3 name changes in the 75 years, but since 1950, they've operated as a chamber of commerce, but they're not, you know, doing everything that a chamber of commerce would do. As we all very much know, they are a service club. They've been very supportive of a lot of the community activities in the Elmwood and District area. From the Ball Diamonds, their greatest contribution was the development of the Elmwood Community Center, and are still strong supporters of that. They run the bingo, various fishing derby, which is coming up through the end of the month here, not this weekend, but next weekend. They'll have the fishing derby again at the pond at the community center, as well as a number of other fishing derbies that are going on around the community. There's another one in West Grey. Will be the South Grey Hunters. We'll be having one at Ground Effects at the pond area there. But the Elmwood Chamber of Commerce still going very well. The biggest thing to come out of the meeting is because they have that Chamber of Commerce in their name and whatnot. They said one of the things that they're finding is difficulty recruiting new members and whatnot. It's difficult for people that are coming in that, no, I don't want to be on a chamber. You know, I want to be on a service group, Lions Club, Rotary Club, Optimus, you know, something like that to get. And so to change that, they are working this year. One of their biggest projects will be to rebrand themselves and come back. Their mission and vision statement is still the same, to serve the community of Elmwood and surrounding area. But they're going to be working, and the membership at the meeting give the direction for the board of directors to move forward with rebranding, getting a new name, and coming up of where they're going to, how they're going to work going forward. They're in a very good financial position, and as I said, have certainly contributed vast amounts of money to the improvements and enhancements to the Elmwood Community Center, which West Gray and Brockton share in the operations of. But the chamber, a very good meeting, and of course, an excellent roast beef dinner on Saturday night, and yes, a fantastic breakfast at the Knights of Columbus Hall on Sunday morning. Hence why it's considerably more difficult to get into my jacket and I don't have it buttoned up. Anyways, other than that, coming forward for council, we certainly have the meeting on tomorrow. So if there's nothing else, we'll probably see you tomorrow at that Elmwood Community Center. It is where we'll be there at 9 o'clock. Okay. Anything else? No closed session. No report from closed session. That brings us down to number 18, which is adjournment. With everything completed on the agenda, declare the meeting adjourned.